Israel's military has confirmed the death of an Israeli man who was held hostage in the Gaza Strip. Now, this particular individual had been held in Gaza since the 7th of October. The Israeli government has not said as to how it managed to learn about his death, though. This 49-year-old individual, whose name has been given as Dror Or, lived in the Be'eri kibbutz. The Be'eri kibbutz is one of the communities that was the worst affected on the 7th of October. Now, Dror Or's wife, Yonit, was also killed in the initial assault, while two of the couple's 3 children, Noam and Alma, were abducted and then freed in November as part of a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. The families of the Israeli hostages have been holding repeated and continuous protests against the Israeli government, and this is a protest that has taken place in Tel Aviv, where they're stepping up pressure on the Netanyahu government to do everything in its power to reach a deal to bring back the hostages. Now, this particular protest that you're looking at was held outside the Defense Ministry's headquarters, where the Israeli war cabinet ministers were meeting. Benjamin Netanyahu was convening his war cabinet to discuss a possible deal and also a long-threatened ground invasion of Rafah in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. Israel says that this is where Hamas is still active and operating, but at this moment, an estimated 1.4 million Palestinians have sought refuge in Rafah after their homes were bombed and they were driven out from the northern parts of the Gaza Strip. In a shocking incident, it's also now emerged that a senior Palestinian doctor was killed while he was in the custody of the Israeli forces after 4 months of detention. The Israeli authorities released about 64 Palestinians that they detained during their military offensive in Gaza, where the Israeli-controlled Kerem Shalom crossing. Meanwhile, the Islamic resistance in Iraq has launched multiple attacks on Israel using cruise missiles. The attack was carried out with multiple Arqab-type cruise missiles and targeted the Israeli capital Tel Aviv for the very first time. Now, Israel has not publicly commented on the attacks that have been claimed by the Iraqi armed groups. On the other hand, Syria's defense ministry has said that at least about 8 of its soldiers were injured in an Israeli air bombing near Damascus. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights War Monitor said that Israel had struck a government building in the countryside of Damascus that was being used by Lebanon's Iran-backed Hezbollah group since 2014. Now, Turkey, in a big escalation, has said that it is suspending all trade with Israel. That is until Israel allows for humanitarian aid to enter into the Gaza Strip unhindered. Now, this comes as a humanitarian shipment from Jordan was attacked by the State of Israel and was subsequently diverted away from the hungry Palestinians. Now, the United States has called on both Israel and Hamas to ensure that aid bound for the civilians in Gaza is not disrupted.
The convoys from the Jordan military that brought the aid in unloaded the aid inside Gaza. It was then picked up by a humanitarian implementer for distribution inside Gaza, and that aid was intercepted and diverted by Hamas on the ground in Gaza. These attacks on aid shipments are unacceptable, and that Israel ought to take steps to prevent them, and it ought to take steps to hold people accountable for them. And I will tell you, we were glad to hear that Israel yesterday arrested 3 of the people involved in the attacks on this convoy.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.